Might seem funny to make a clip of the bottom of the painting here, but you know, I know that it's not the focal area. But it's important, it's really important, the way in which this supports the rest of the design of the painting. So, and I'm not feeling it. Like what I put in here, I put a few lines. It's fine, it's good, I can work from them. Not necessarily with them, but from them. And, you know, there's some I like, some I don't like. I don't like this triangle. I don't want this line to come over to here. I don't want an X. Then we have too much symmetry again. We have a blob and a blob meeting with an X in the middle. I don't like that. I'd rather this line fell into maybe I don't mind this idea, because it punches up a little bit, which is fine, because the sky is punching down. We need things punching up. That's okay. And this kind of, you know, could move in that direction. Another line which I think may help. It's something like that. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, there could be something to this. There could be the indication of something. I just don't want a strong line heading down this way. I think I would rather have, you know, we come to our trees and then the line spills down. And maybe a bigger space here than here. You know, I've got these faint lines in here, and I'm not overly fond of that. You know, if I break it up with some foliage, that might be okay. Lots of fiddling. Lots of fiddling. Well, I was a little worried about this, but I think it's not going to be a problem. This plane is so much more forward, and we have this band of grass down there. I don't think it's going to be an issue. So, you know, having the lines in slightly curved as well, they all help to point to the focal area. You know, even this, just sort of a bit of a, you know, this will be a little different color than, you know, some of the other areas. That brings up, comes across to the bush. These all more or less point in this direction. I may have to put a few leaves of foliage in the foreground here yet. I'm not sure. So I don't use mind-bending drugs, but it seems pretty obvious that sometimes I use mind-changing drugs, because I've changed my mind again. Well, not really again. I can't say again. On this area. You know, I was looking at the painting and thought, you know, I have this, you know, we have all these vertical shapes in here. And then we come to this little clearing, pretty horizontal. And then this is a fairly strong line as well, quite horizontal. And we carry on with the rocks here, quite horizontal. So if I were just to continue these rocks here, you'd have all these sort of flowing horizontal lines. And I think that when you have this much verticality in your drawing, or in your painting, you need to have a little bit of that going on in the foreground as well. And that's why I'm just going to cut these rocks off right here. And we'll just make this all, you know, it'll plunge a little bit. That's good. I kind of like changing the angle of the line a little bit. make this maybe a little more important. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not sure how far I'll get on these rocks today. I'm going to, I've packed up the last large painting that I did, the last 4 foot by 6 foot painting, and I'm going to drive it to the gallery. It's going to the White Rock Gallery in White Rock, British Columbia, Canada, which is, you know, a round trip for me, considering the traffic and all. It'll probably be about 3 hours, but I'm going to drive it there because it's a, you know, it's kind of nice to get out of the house for a bit. And even though it's going to go in a full-size 4x4 Ford pickup truck, it's still going to be cheaper for me to bring it myself than shipping it, and less hassle actually. Because if I were to send it with a shipper, I would have to package it twice as good, which would cost me twice as much money in just materials. So that's how I'm going to spend the day, which means, you know, all said and done, well, spend the day, but spend a few hours anyway. I might just incorporate, well, you never know, I might just I might just take a fishing rod with me and throw a line in here and there. You know, if there's going to be a road trip, then I kind of hate for it just to be all about business. Let's see. A green blob. It's about as green as the rest of it. Yeah, a little bit different, I guess. Whatever. Okay, you know? Okay, I like it. So seeing as these rocks need to be a drawing unto themselves, they're pretty important, and I've been playing with ideas as to how to work this, and I think I've come up with a solution that I'm reasonably happy with, for part of them at least. But I think, well, as I've mentioned before, if you're unsure about an area, put some lines in. Don't do it willy-nilly. Do the best you can. Get ideas and try to implement them. But don't be afraid to lightly scratch them in charcoal. Because the more you do, the greater the chances are that some of those lines will be lines that you can use when, you know, and you develop the area, and ultimately you end up with something, hopefully. So this is what I had here. You know, I thought, you know, I went in pretty quickly with some with my charcoal through it. I put in some lines, and I kind of liked how it looked, you know. So I thought that, you know, to me this is, you know, what we have in the foreground here. They're not really boulders. They're kind of an outcropping of bedrock, and you know, we have this piece and this piece, two masses. They're no longer monolithic because they have at some point cracked, and in that crack soil gathered, and over the years there was enough soil there that lichen, you know, maybe some lichen and some moss grew in, and eventually that crack is just sealed with dirt and, you know, with lichen and moss. And this is how nature works, you know. There's nothing unusual about it. It's perfectly natural. Now, if you work from photographs, you have that information sitting there for you. I have kind of handicapped myself. I've kind of hobbled myself in the sense that this has to come from my imagination. Now, of course, the imagination is made of memories and experience. So that's kind of why I can get away with it, because I've got so much experience with wandering through the bush and just observing things. So, that's kind of why I get to do this. And I come from, my dad was a professional artist, and he kind of really helped me to slow down and observe things. And yeah, I mean, if you're not observant, if you don't train yourself to be observant, you're kind of out of luck, because you need to be observant if you're going to paint, or if you're going to draw or sculpt, or anything sort of artistic, anything creative. You gotta see the information that's there. It's already provided for you. So I'm seeing this web, filled in with lichen and moss, and I think, okay, that's the way of trying to explain away what's actually there. The important part is it's an interesting shape. It's smooth, it's rolling, it'll be well defined. It supports these trees well. It qualifies these as quite natural rocks. So I liked all this. I was like, oh, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy. Wait a minute, nope. All right. So it didn't solve the entire area, but I made a lot of progress. Very happy with this. This is going to change. I'm not liking that. But to start with, we got rid of the question about that. I think that's solved. Now we're here. We are closing in. We're closing in on ground zero as far as getting rid of our problems, challenges, I suppose you'd call them. Anyway, I think that's about it for today. Or something, I think. I don't know. Talk to you soon.